Hi everyone and welcome to the Asia Pacific Proptech Summit, the very first one of its kind, and we are so proud and thankful for you to join us from all around the world. We are proudly organized, this event is proudly organized by the Malaysian Proptech Association. And we are just a quick some few stats before we go into more details is that today from this summit we will have 100 over speakers from 18 over countries along 48 hours and 5 verticals. So this event is proudly brought to you once again by the Malaysian Proptech Association, and we have supporting partners Magic, Cradle, MDAC, as well as event sponsors the LMRE, China Mobile International, and MoneySafe. And our platform is partners are Unisu and Kingsman. So if you are just catching us on this platform, Unisu, and you've not visited our virtual expo, I encourage you to do so. It's at appsummit.asia, APPSUMMIT.asia. So a lot of hard work has been put into this, and really I'm so proud of the team that has put this together. You know, when we started this idea of doing a summit like this, it was just a few months ago. I think 5 or 6 months ago. We were just starting as an association, but I'm proud to say through the many weeks and months putting this together, we have now become really a community of entrepreneurs, tech companies, startups and scale-ups working towards a common goal, in which is to see the Proptech advance in Malaysia and beyond. So I'm so proud of this achievement that we've made. And today we will hear throughout the 48 hours, speakers talk about various verticals in Proptech, which is from planning to constructing to transacting, managing, as well as educating towards the property technology and as well as innovation in Malaysia. So all of this would not have been possible if not for one man who has really pushed us and inspired and really gave us this audacious goal to organize this event. As we know, Proptech in itself is rather new, but it's a very exciting space. If you've not, don't believe me, just go search on Google. That person is our president, and he has been very actively engaging with various Proptech organizations around the world. And today I'm proud to welcome him to the stage to give a few words. Can you join me in welcoming our president of the Malaysian Proptech Association, Dr. Daniel Gambero. Take it away,
Good
Doctor.
morning. Good morning, Jason, and I can feel the excitement. I am excited as much as you are, and I have been having this vision since long about a big Proptech event to pull together not only the Malaysian forces in Proptech, but from all around the world, or at least from our region. And this is what, not thanks to me, but thanks to a fantastic team of people, a fantastic team from the committee. Everyone has been working in an unbelievable way. First of all, I thank you. Of course, as VP event, you have been a fantastic leader of all of us. I was also your admin boy. And believe me, there have been plenty of fire coming up here and there. He was always ready with his fire extinguisher to cool down, chill down. In few cases came to my house with a full bucket of ice and put it on my head. So we are here today. I am super proud of all of you, and I would like first of all to mention one by one the person that have been making this possible. First of all, Jason Ding, I really prize you very much. Second one, the man without whom all these wouldn't have been possible, because I am a passionate dreamer. I have a vision, but I'm also a very messy person. So someone behind me putting all my contact, running after me and say, doctor, pass me this number or that number. Always indispensable is our secretariat, Mr. Wong. Thank you for all your your help, Mr. Wong. And then down to marketing team with Frank, Cassandra, Wayong, down to the partnership team with Tarma, and to academic with Chua and Steven, plus all the EMC that, again, is a team work. Angela, Liz, Karen, Vivienne, everyone has been contributing its part to make this event possible. Secondly, I would like to appreciate and recognize the help and the availability to come on board by all our international partners, association partner. It's unbelievable when you start talking Proptech, you start talking creating awareness, creating a brand, not for MPA but for the world Proptech around the world, how fast association, passionate people in tech startup, scaling up and so on are jumping on board. So let me recognize the Indonesia Proptech Association, the Brisbane Proptech Brisbane, the Japan Proptech, Hong Kong Proptech Institute, and some followers of our activities, such as Gary Walter and Paul Chen from Proptech Institute and from Asia Proptech Association, that have been helping a lot. And then we go down in South Africa with Africa Proptech and Sean from South Africa, Dr. Ronald from Nigeria Proptech, Chiara Tagliaro from the Italian Proptech Network, Mein Kapung, Menno Lammers from Holland with the Proptech for Good, and of course from UK, James Dursley and his fantastic team that has been helping us a lot on Unisho. Now, let me tell you in 3 minutes the meaning of this Asia Pacific Proptech Summit. Proptech is the last kid in the block of the tech startup around the world, even though it's been around for more than 40 years practically, because the first Proptech ideas came out in the middle 80s when computer came in, and the different waves of Proptech have always been triggered by some big change in the IT or ICT world. So we had computing first, then we had the internet and email, then we had apps, Wi-Fi, spread the use of internet, and now we are looking into AI, we are looking into blockchain, we are looking into metaverse, which is the future, all right? As passionate as I am, and as much as I've been spreading my passion throughout the committee and the whole group and the whole association of Malaysian Proptech Association, we have been deciding to create this communication platform, to talk to each other, to learn from each other, to understand how we can join hands to make this industry even bigger. And this is why we have been deciding to keep this whole business, whole summit completely free for everyone to attend, because we want people to educate. And within this vision of widening up our reach, we have been recently closing this MoU, which is highly meaningful for us and will be the next step that Jason will explain to you in a couple of minutes. So stay with us. This is going to run from now till 9 p.m. tonight. No interruption. There are a couple of very interesting side events. One is a crowdfunding, innovative crowdfunding feature solution, Money Save, and the second one is our friends of MBAN, the Malaysia Business Angel Network, angel investor, that has been deciding to organize their monthly event, Tiger's Lane, the Malaysian version of the Shark Tank. US, they have the shark. Malaysia, we have the tigers. So good to have the Tiger's Lane here, where 6 of our members will be fencing through verbal pitching, and one of them will be the winner of today Tiger's Lane. These two will happen on a parallel stream. One is at 1:30 p.m. and the other one is at 3 p.m. Don't miss them. And look into the agenda. There is everything and more. I stop here, then otherwise I will go ahead for another 1 hour and Jason will have to kill me and pull away the microphone from me. I give back to you the word, Jason. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel. Thank you for the kind words and for introducing myself. Sorry, my manners. In my excitement, I forgot to introduce myself. So, Jason Ding, VP of Events, And it's really been a real privilege and honor to plan together with the team. Like I mentioned earlier, when we started, a lot of us were just acquaintance in this property technology association. We didn't really know each other very well. We kind of know each other from, we know that we exist, but we never worked together. But really, the MPA has provided a platform and a cause to work towards. And I would say in the past few months, like I mentioned earlier, we've got to know each other better. And, like Dr. Daniel said, fight, make friends, fight, make up. But, and I need to mention this, yeah. With a lot of virtual events happening, usually you outsource it to an event company or a different group. But I'm so proud to say that the entire Malaysia Apps Summit was really organized by in-house the Malaysian Proptech Association itself. But the focus really is towards Asia Pacific, and this year we are the host. Moving forward from this year, who knows? We will open it up to other Asian Pacific countries. But today we will have more than Asian Pacific. Beyond that, we have participants and speakers from Australia, from the US, from Nigeria, from many, many more. I better not start. Like Dr. Daniel wants to start mentioning a name. You have to mention all. Then I'm not going to fall into that trap. Okay? But like Dr. Daniel mentioned, besides watching a panel starting from now all the way to 9 p.m. in Malaysian time, GMT, and tomorrow as well, but from anywhere in the world, it's going to be pre-recorded and it's going to be in Unisu platform. So you can watch any of the panels anytime after today as well. But on top of the panels that's happening, you can also engage with the panelists. We will have a roundtable stream in Unisu where you can, after the panel, if the EMC says, hey, the panelists would like to meet with delegates, feel free to touch base and connect. There is an roundtable room where you can just leave the panel room and join that roundtable room where you can then engage and have a conversation with the panelists on the topic of your choice based on the panel that was shared. All right. Okay, Dr. Daniel mentioned that today, besides launching this event and having the keynote speaker, we have this exciting thing here, which is an MoU, Memorandum of Understanding between the Malaysian Proptech Association and Cradle Fund. So we are so excited. In the past few months, we have been connecting and making different connections and partnerships with various organizations, various government link agencies, and today we're going to have and celebrate this partnership with Cradle. I would like to invite right now to come up and to first do a signing virtually, Mr. Norman Matthew from Cradle. Take it away.
Hi, good morning. Distinguished guest, Dr. Daniel Gambero, good morning, buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Ladies and gentlemen, now the real estate industry has already entered an era of rapid digitalization. Big data, artificial intelligence, widely used in the real estate industry, revolutionary applications in urban remodeling, community planning, real estate design and building, transactions and management. All this brings disruptive changes to the entire industry. Startups play an important role in economic growth globally. Startups actually need resources to survive and scale. They need the right funding, talents, industry know-how, equipment, and support systems. There is no better way to approach challenges than the famous saying of two heads are better than one. Now, when creating partnerships between colleagues and departments, larger partnerships and between businesses, to harness the strength and ability from one another from different corners of the ecosystem, Cradle, MPA, it's one of the strategic ways of business for us to scale the innovation and solve complex challenges. Collaborations and strategic partnerships are fundamental in improving business outcomes. Companies that initially grow organically now need to look for new ways to drive collaborative innovation, to deliver what the customers need today, not just today, in the future. Now, the tech ecosystem has seen this revolution. Traditional organizations, banks, government agencies are partnering now with newer players, startups, entrepreneurs, everybody. At Cradle, we've embraced this partnership approach wholeheartedly from the top all the way to the bottom. We're focused on forging new partnerships with leaders across all industries to expand our efforts for digital transformation. Now, real estate touches everything that we do. It's the economics of physical space. It literally shapes our lives by defining the environment in which we live and do business. Technology, on the other hand, has done a lot in the last few decades to revolutionize flows of information. Communication, we have Apple and Facebook. Goods, like Amazon. Capital, we have PayPal. And transport, like Grab. But real estate is actually larger than all of those combined. And the transformation that real estate technology could bring to our life could be actually far greater and more profound than anyone would ever think. Now, despite real estate being by far the largest asset class in the world, most businesses surrounding it are still at the early stage of technology adoption. General trends and shifting consumer behaviors are creating an opportunity for a new wave of real tech startups with high growth potential. Now, one of our goals at Cradle is to enable these startups to bring profound changes to this important market. And we hope that through this collaboration, we will invite the MPA to work with us as our industry channel partner to help grow more successful and sustainable Proptech startups. Hope that MPA could help us to provide the industry advice, insight, and sharing of the latest trends by the experts on Proptech and contact even industry, as well as mentorship to support our startup. Over the last few years, the use of Proptech and associated technologies has caused substantial disruption. Many businesses will take advantage of advanced technologies, many of them recognizing a greater need than ever to adopt it. AI, automation, big data has created an environment which Proptech startups have been able to bring up in large numbers, offering new softwares and platforms. Now, as businesses continue to invest in and make use of the advancements in Proptech, its place in real estate will continue to have a large influence on technology adoption in the industry for years to come. For Cradle, as a focal point agency mandated to manage the development of local-based startups from early stage to growth stage, we hope that through this collaboration with MPA will bring our Proptech startups to greater heights and help increase their competitiveness, not just locally, regionally, but to the international level as well. To add a little bit that in addition to these efforts of us bringing in more collaboration with industry partners such as MPA, Cradle have recently launched a platform called My Startup. Now, it is a national level platform of information resources aimed to help ecosystem players to navigate through the startup ecosystem and drive local innovation. It also provides continuous assistance and guidance to develop the startups to help world-class investment value. I would like to call all startups and ecosystem players to be part of this platform, and together we can build a stronger ecosystem. I deeply encourage everyone to visit and register today at www.mystartup.gov.my. And last but certainly not least, in line with our ministry's, the Ministry of Science and Technology's aspiration to create 5 Malaysian unicorns by 2025, hopefully we can get one from Proptech or contact industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Norman Matthew. And Norman, once again, is the VP of Finance and Operations in Cradle. And really, you summed it up very subsequently and very eloquently that really we are in a place and the potential is so big. And Malaysia as a country has so much potential. And if we have conversation with Dr. Daniel, really we realize that if we look around the world and looking at Malaysian startups and startups in Asia Pacific, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of growth here because of the growth that's happening in our country itself, as well as in the property industry specifically. So thank you for saying that. And right now, I'd like to invite to give also opening remarks and towards the MoU, Dr. Daniel Gambero.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jason. And thank you. Thank you, Norman, Cradle, and all the team of Cradle that has been working very hard to get this MoU through, and above all to make it possible today to sign it in front of our global public. I'm extremely glad of this open door. I'm extremely happy to hear the words of Cradle through the mouth of Norman just now, opening the arms to all startups, opening the arms to a very close cooperation with tech stakeholder in the market, as Malaysian Proptech Association is. Startup, the rule is you start, you use the 3F, which is family, friend. People are saying fools is number 3, but I prefer to say followers, the one with the big faith in you. Then after this 3F, you are still too little to move the next step to a pre-seed or a seed fundraising stage. So you are lost. You are there, cash trapped. Family say, show me some result first. Friends too. Then you go where? Now we can go from the third F directly to Cradle, or even earlier than that. Work with them. We have also a very close partnership with other government agencies to create a proper circulation and sharing of information, knowledge, and at the end finding someone who can give the right mentorship, the right guidance to move the first step towards a future scalability of your idea. And that is what Cradle is. I have to say, I am extremely proud, even not Malaysian, because I am well known in Malaysia as the Malaysian with an Italian passport. I've been here for 23 years and I love this country very much. And I'm very proud of it because I've been realizing that not many countries are helping the startup ecosystem as Malaysia is. I've been having sharing recently, as Jason was saying in the opening, around the world with many different PropTech platforms, and I can tell you, all of them remained with popping out eyes from the school, kind of, you know, like in the comics, saying, wow, in Malaysia you all have this kind of support from Magic, from Cradle, from NDEC, from different layers of an agencies purposely designed to support the growth. Malaysia is here to step to the next level. As a fully developed country, higher income, we need technology. We are talking about smart city. We are talking about smart digital infrastructure. Proptech is here. Malaysian Proptech Association is here to help. As far as through this MoU, Cradle is here to help our members to move the next step towards becoming a unicorn. I share your dream, Mr. Norman. I will really do my very best to see at least one PropTech startup becoming a unicorn. We have a few candidates for that direction, so I will put in all the fire, all the push, and all the passion, and all my network to make sure that this is going to happen. So we will work hand in hand, and when it comes a time, we will cheer together with a nice titarik, and hopefully by that time, we will be able to celebrate without mask on our faces. Thank you again so much, Cradle, for the trust placed into Malaysian PropTech Association. We also look, as Jason was saying, in stepping from a bunch of friends into a community which is also recognized as industry representative. And these two MOU, the one that we are signing today with Cradle and the one that we have been signing in the past with Magic, are definitely contributing in giving us this position, which makes us a bit more relevant towards our community, making sure that we will be able to deliver good value to all our members. Thank you again, and I return the floor to you, Jason. Thank you very much. Thank you, Cradle. Thank you, Norman.
There was Dr. Daniel, the president of the Malaysian Proptech Association, and right now, the exciting moment where we will do the actual signing of the Memorandum of Understanding. Maybe I'll just direct the screen or spotlight to once again to Mr. Norman Matthew, which will do the signing, and then to Dr. Daniel. All right, it's signed. A bit of a virtual spillover, but it's going to pass over to Dr. Daniel. Thank you, Norman. And Dr. Daniel second. Wow, how do you do that?
Magic.
Magic.
It's a Cradle magic, actually.
Okay, very nice. Virtual e-applause from everyone on the signing.
Shake
Alright.
hand, Norman.
All right. Okay. So can I get firstly a picture, a screenshot with Dr. Daniel and Norman, just both of them, and we'll take a picture just to document this really historical moment. It's good. One more. All right. Okay, we would now also like to invite a few witnesses in this for the photo op as well. Several representatives from Cradle as well. So we'd like to invite to the virtual stage Dr. Ng Sing Hui, the VP of Strategy and Investment, as well as Mr. Adam Ramsky, the Head of Unit and Strategy Unit. All right, thank you for being here. On behalf of the Malaysian Proptech Association, it will be myself, VP of Events, Jason Ding, as well as Mr. Tama Ganisin, who is the VP of Partnerships. All right. Okay, so let's do it again. Another thumbs up, everyone. Let me try to take a picture myself. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more with just looking smart. You don't need to put your thumbs down, just looking at the camera right ahead. Yes, of course, with the MoU documents from Norman and Dr. Daniel. Brilliant. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you once again, Mr. Adam Ramsky, Dr. Ng, Mr. Norman, and Tamar as well. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, and looking forward to a very close cooperation with you, Norman, Adam, and Ingen, Dr. Ng, of course, and the whole of the Cradle team. As soon as there will be a bit more relaxed movement control and social distancing procedure in place, we will definitely meet up for a physical meeting and define some direction for next year. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Once again, a round of virtual applause, everybody, for this very meaningful moment. Okay, like Dr. Daniel mentioned about pandemic and the potential of Proptech, and seriously, I think what we know and what we believe is Proptech seriously has a lot of the answers that the world is going through in terms of battling and finding the new norms in engaging and meeting and even the space and how we transact and how we manage. There's many different things where Proptech is now become so relevant in the world today. And before we go into a keynote panel, which will start very, very soon, I would like to once again acknowledge all our supporting partners from Magic and of course Cradle and MDEC as well, who has been very supportive. Once again, I echo what Dr. Daniel say. Malaysian government has been very supportive of the technology and innovation initiatives, and for startups and scale-ups like myself, I'm so proud to be able to work in this market and to build, like the goal is unicorn. The goal is unicorn. Okay, and once again, I also want to acknowledge our event sponsors, just to mention again, because maybe this now it may have been rushed very fast. So once again, LMRE, please do check them out at www.lmre.tech. Okay, lmre.tech, as well as China Mobile International, which is at www.cmi.chinamobile.com, as well as MoneySave, which is at www.moneysave.com.my. All right, now we're going to move to our keynote panel, where we will just kick things off, and then subsequently will be all the panels that you can just join in Unisu throughout the day. But we'll start off with the keynote panel. Can I invite to the panel several people from agencies that I mentioned? Firstly, of course, we already have met Dr. Daniel Gambero. Can I invite Dr. Daniel to the virtual stage first? Okay, good to have you. Okay, next we have Mr. Jesse Chui, Jesse has 20 years in MDEC managing various portfolios which largely comprises of research and advisory of digital transformation, digital economy, tech ecosystems development, and he's part of the MDEC GAIN team which facilitates Malaysian high growth and potential startups to regional markets. So thank you for being with us, Jesse Chui, who is the head of portfolio management of MDEC. All right. Okay, next I would like to invite Dr. Ng Sing Hui, the VP for Strategy and Investment in Cradle. Dr. Ng is well experienced in the translation of R&D investments into revenues. He's a graduate from Manchester Metropolitan University. Dr. Ng has more than 13 years experience in innovation and technology investment. Before joining Cradle, he was the head of technology in commercialization at Platform Ventures, a wholly owned subsidiary of Agency Inovasi Malaysia, AIM. He managed a national funding program for SMEs, overseeing a portfolio of 100 million commercialization funds under Platform, which Dr. Ng, actually, I am also one of the recipients, my company MHub, so I'm proud to welcome you to the stage as well. Next, we have Mr. Rajan Doreraj, who's a senior manager in partnerships of the Malaysian Global Innovation Creativity Centre, otherwise known as MAGIC, and they recently just rebranded, and we'll hear more about it from Mr. Rajan. Rajan has a strong experience in digital transformation and business development, which spans over 20 years. In his current role at MAGIC, he bridges corporates and startups in an open innovation platform and curates corporate innovation programs. He currently leads the partnership department of MAGIC, which develops programs for startups to scale their business by connecting and leveraging on the innovation ecosystem. Welcome to the virtual stage, Rajan. All right. So I'm just so proud to be in this panel with all of you. I am so proud to moderate this and also to be representative of one of the Proptech companies in Malaysia and also, of course, in Asia Pacific as well, by extension. And to also to engage and talk about the future of Proptech, of innovation, of technology. And firstly, I would like to maybe set the context, that really for the uninitiated people who we watch, because people are watching from all around the world, okay, they may not be familiar with your household names as Malaysians are. So for the uninitiated tech people, what are the focus of your respective agencies? And maybe also by extension you can share also what do you look into personally? Can I start with Mr. Rajan?
Good morning. Thank you very much, Jason, for the kind introduction. Good to see everybody again. People from the Malaysian ecosystem, right? So, all right. Latest in the news, MAGIC is actually merging with the Technology Park Malaysia. It was announced on 9th of November, and a new agency called Meranti has been launched, and it will be fully operationalized in January. So the mandate of Meranti is to bridge the gap between the research academia and the corporate businesses in terms of IP commercialization. So that would be our main drive moving forward. However, we will still be in the ecosystem because startups, corporates, universities, research institutes and all that are our stakeholders. And we will be bridging the gap between them to increase Malaysia's global innovation index ranking. So that's our aspiration. So moving forward, thank you.
Thank you, Rajan. And like Dr. Daniel mentioned earlier on, we also did an MoU with Rajan just a few weeks back, and we are collecting different MoUs to again scale, because the Malaysian Proptech Association is also like a startup. We are also gaining traction, and we are also getting awards and all these MoUs and partnerships, and it's really meaningful to us. Can I hear now from Dr. Ng to share a bit about what's happening in your organization? Thank you, Dr. Ng. Sorry, you're muted right now. I can't hear you. Sorry, Dr. Ng, we can't hear you right now. Or maybe we'll start with Jesse while we sort this thing out. Okay, maybe we hear from MDEX, Jesse, to share about what the focus of your agency. Yep.
Thank you, Jason. And first of all, congratulations to Cradle and Proptech Association for signing the MoU. We're indeed very happy to be on this panel together with our fellow agencies, Cradle and MAGIC, to develop the startup ecosystem in Malaysia. So MDEC, as you know, has been around for 25 years. We celebrated our 25th anniversary this year. And as you know, today many of the tech companies we have in the ecosystem, we have a large variety of them, right? There are strengths in FSI, there are strengths in manufacturing, and of late I see there are strengths in PropTech as well, health tech, agri-tech, and so on, right? So I think one of the key mandates for MDEC is really how we can support the growth of not just the startups, but also the scale-ups, right? And the companies that are perhaps on the verge of coming into a unicorn. So MDEC's focus really moving forward will be on working with partner agencies as well as partners in the countries, the regional countries, to develop and accelerate the growth of these companies. And a big part of our focus will also be on building talent, continue to build talent, working closely with the institutions of higher learning, polytechnics especially, to develop the sort of talent that will fuel the growth of the Malaysian tech companies. And for me personally, I look at the portfolio of Malaysian-based tech companies, and working together with colleagues to support their growth through the various means, such as market access into the region, funding facilitation to funding partners, not just locally but also regionally, providing visibility where appropriate, and last but not least, to support them by connecting to the right mentors in the ecosystem. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jesse. That's really, meaningful. I think seriously for all of us, and we always look at MDEC as the direction and moving ahead, and just leading the way. And all of us are like, wow, so excited to be part of it. Can we have Dr. Ng right now? Are you able to? Oh, still no sound. Still no sound. Do you? Yeah. Are you logged in with a different speaker or headset or anything like that?
Try to check on the setting, doctor. Where is your speaker connected, your microphone?
Yeah. What we maybe we can do is just log out and log in again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, doctor. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you can hear from Dr. Daniel.
Yep.
Just a bit
Definitely.
of overview. Yeah.
Definitely, this is the beauty of technology. Always perfect, 99 times out of 100. And there is the one that caught you in front of the public. Is always like that. All right. Now, let me open a short intro on what I have in mind to say with a old cultural motto that we have in Italy. In Italy, we'll always say that there is no two without a three after it. So number one has been Magic, July 2021. Number two has been Cradle, November 2021. Number three, Jesse, you better get ready because you come next. Now, as president of the Malaysia Proptech Association, I've been saying we even though I'm not as young as most of my members, I have always in my life kept a young mind and a young heart open to innovation, open to discovering a new way of doing business, communicating, and so on. Now, the last 2 years, this pandemic that has been brutally disrupting the life of too many around the world has been also bringing in a totally different acceleration in the digital transformation. And nowadays we are virtually connected on a global, in a global manner, in a global way. It's so easy to get in touch with Africa, UK, US. You will see during these 2 days of our EPS 2021 how many countries are logging in, how many relevant speakers are logging in from other areas of the world, just for the scope of sharing what they know and listen to what others are knowing. So in this direction, definitely, we cannot miss to work hand in hand with the main supporting agencies of the government. And as I've been saying in my introduction earlier, I am so proud, really. I was in a round table 3 weeks ago between European, Southeast Asian, and African Proptech Association. And when I've been mentioning only the tip of the iceberg of what Cradle, MDEC, and Magic are doing for the startup world in ecosystem in Malaysia, these African partners of ours were really blowing up their mind, and they said that you don't know how lucky you are. And this is true, and this is absolutely true. In a world of technology, there cannot be a positive growth and a sustainable long-term growth of ecosystems if there is no support, active support from the government. And from our side, as Proptech, Malaysian Proptech Association, let me say that we look at the signing of this MoU not as a nice piece of paper to place up on a wall, but a way, a secret door to enter the three agencies of yours and keep on giving you trouble in a positive way, of course. Keep on opening a new channel of communication, new way of working hand in hand, new way of doing research, new way of giving value to the tech startup ecosystem of Malaysia. So this is how we aspire. We have this vision of working hand in hand with government agencies. And I return the floor to you, Jason.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Dr. Ng. I hope you are able to.
I hope you guys can hear me now.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for a minute there.
you had it over technology. Yes.
Okay, where do I start now?
So yeah, while technology is advancing, we also need to depend on people, and that's very important. That's always hand in hand, right? Machines are not going to take over yet. So, Dr. Ng, maybe in brief words, I mean, what is the focus of your agency, as well as your personally, what do you look into? Just to overview for people.
Our focus, Cradle focus is always on the startup space. So what we do is, we, of course, funding is one of the things that we provide, but then not any startup or entrepreneur out there knows that, okay, when they start the business, they thought that money is the only thing that is lacking, right? So they come, they pitch for funding, and then towards the year we provide funding, and we realize that, hey, not just funding alone can help a startup. As you know, we support a whole array of technology startups. So funding alone is not important. So what we do is we have a lot of value-added service around it. What we envisage to do is to be the focal point of startup development in Malaysia, so that we can't be doing it all. What we envisage right now is to have a focal point whereby we will then help to connect our startup with very specific need to whoever ecosystem player out there. So as you know, recently we launched our My Startup platform. That is where we wanted to integrate all the startup ecosystem players to be there and support each other for mutual benefits. So our focus will always be early stage startup. We help you to pave the way, and later on we will funnel it to other agency or other investor when they are resilient enough, when they are strong enough to grow and to scale. So in terms of focus, we will focus on the early stage, but then we will also be the focal point for the entire ecosystem, bringing all the players together so that the journey for a startup or an entrepreneur is easier for them. We know we have been talking to thousands of businesses out there. Startup or entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey, right? So what we plan to do is to build a conducive ecosystem for them, so that they can leverage on each other, leverage on partnership, knowing each other, network with each like-minded people, in order for them to grow from pre-seed, seed, pre-A, and all the way until scale up. Yeah, so that will be our focus.
Great, thank you so much, Dr. Ng. So you're talking about My Startup. I visited the portal and I've seen quite extensive database of all the different startups in Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the intention, to really have a full database of startups?
Yes.
Scale ups.
Yes. So I think I have to set the expectation right. What we just launched was the MVP, the minimum viable product, just to kickstart everything. So it's like a call of action for all ecosystem to come in. So ideally, it is not just a directory of all the startup and all the VCs, right? Everything should be there. So if I'm I'm an investor, what do I want? I want a deal flow, a good sort of quality startup for me to invest in. So what we plan to do is to have a list of startup in there. If I'm a startup, right, what do I want? I want a list of investor. I want a list of service provider. I want a list of whatever it is, right? It should be there. So technically what we just launched was MVP. And as we grow, technically for maybe a year or 12 to 18 months, that is where the platform will really come up and serve as its intended purpose, which is a diverse network of all the relevant players to be in there. But of course, right now it's just a list of limited input. So that's why we really encourage people to be to go on to leverage on whatever platform that we have, and also to add in the data, add in the information, and then speak to us like, what do you envisage? What do you want from this platform? It is not a Cradle's effort per se. It is just driven by Cradle. It is the entire nation effort. Of course, spearheaded by Mosti, powered by Cradle. But then we want everyone, be it government or be it private, you come in here, you come to this platform, there is something that you can get out from it.
That's great. Yeah. All right. So, okay, brilliant stuff. Thank you, Dr. Ng. From your estimation panel, and your vantage point, how has the Asian tech and innovation scene changed in the last 2 years? Some have said that COVID has caused a 5 to 7 years acceleration. Do you think this is true? What do you think? Maybe start with Rajan.
Well, definitely, COVID played a big role in accelerating the adoption of technology, digital automation, etc. Especially in the space of convenience, right, in platform economy. So a lot of people were stuck at home, so ordering their food online, getting rides also probably online. They were to get from point A to point B, right? So everything is done from home. This has actually increased, investments from VCs and into the platform economy or the startups or tech companies that actually were providing these services. So it has actually grown in the last 2 years. Plus, it has also pressured, traditional brick and mortar businesses also to go online, right? Manufacturers had to, pass through the supply chain directly to market their products on online marketplaces, through e-commerce. Same thing, because a lot of supply chains were disrupted, right? Road closures and all that. So, especially in Malaysia, right? We took very strict precautions to control the COVID situation. And so a lot of supply chains were disrupted. People had to do things online, just to get products moving from point A to point B. Yeah. So definitely, it has been, COVID, I would say, it's an oxymoron, right? It's become a boon to digital adoption, to technology adoption. Yeah. And a lot of people have been, I would say, become aware of it. However, some statistics which I read recently have shown that so far only about 26% of SMEs have got a digital adoption strategy online, okay, to actually grow their business from this, from the setback of the pandemic. So they're still, looking at a cup half full. There is still a lot of opportunities, to get, businesses to adopt digitalization. That's where startups, play a big role in helping them grow their business. So the government agencies like us, Cradle, MDEC, and now Meranti, we have to play that role in bridging this gap, to getting businesses to adopt. So I would say in the Proptech industry also, definitely there's a lot of opportunities in this space. Yeah, a lot of property developers, the construction companies also. There is opportunity to adopt automation, and reduce the foreign labor, because a lot of them has been repatriated back to their home countries. So there is a shortage of labor. I was just renovating my house, back in December to April, and cost of material has gone up, plus cost of labor, double whammy, right? So it was a tough time. So automation, digitalization is the way to go, and the government agencies like us, are actually ramping up, to 6th tier to get this awareness moving and get them to adopt.
I'm going to ask the same question to the rest of the panel, but maybe just unpack a bit further, Rajan, what you said about the percentage. Interesting stats there about SMEs and organizations not yet having a digital strategy. What do you think the barrier is there?
Well, I believe, many of them still depend a lot on government incentives, thinking that, government, injection of capital into the economy may help them in some way, grow their business, plus, opening up of the economy and getting foreign labor coming back again, you see. So that could be in their back of their mind, you see. So, that would impede their plans to, I would say, have a strategy. However, this COVID situation, or maybe there could be another pandemic, God forbid, could come, and so it is really important for them to actually take these actions of having a strategy to, adopt automation and digitalization moving forward. So I guess, because, Malaysia is blessed, our government has been, supporting industry, unlike many other countries, right? So there is that dependence on the government by industry, whether it's SMEs or startups or even the corporates also, right? So that's where, the shift in mindset, has to, come through that, government is not always there to, guide you and support you. You have to actually move on your own.
I definitely agree with you. I think we cannot just treat the symptoms, but we need to look for a cure and a long-term sustainable cure. And like you mentioned, it's not just upgrading of infrastructure or technology, but upgrading of the mind as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Can I hear from Jesse, please, from Endex's point of view?
Yeah, I think just to taking a leaf out of Rajan's book, I think certainly the last couple of years has really accelerated the growth of technology adoption, and I think that's evident. For example, like MDEC, we have the Smart Automation Grants, which is supports automation in services industries. That's fully taken up. There's also the SME digitalization grants, which supports SMEs to adopt cloud-based solutions. That's also extremely high demand. And recently we launched a grant, which is now closed, for organizations to do pilot projects on fourth industrial revolution type of technologies. And that's also oversubscribed, right? So it's clear to us that the industry is really understands the need to digitalize, and I think in terms of the sectors applying for the fourth IR grant, we see a healthy take up from the wholesale and retail industry, as we all know, right? There's also a sizable take up from the finance and insurance industry. And also, last but not least, agriculture is also a big sector. So I think, Jason, like MHub itself, right? You're both a fintech and a proptech company. So certainly there are overlaps and synergies between the different technologies and the sectors. So it's the so-called lines are getting blurred. But yeah, and I think one other thing that's also contributing to the growth of Malaysia's digital economy and our tech companies is also perhaps the trade war between US and China. And this is evident, as you can see, some of our Malaysian electrical and electronics companies are benefiting from this trade war, right? Growth in different services, even the IC design services companies are growing, right? As well as, of course, the automated test equipment companies. So yeah, very much so. And I think as well as Rajan pointed out, the Malaysian industry is so-called, I will use the word, perhaps spoiled in terms of how the government is supporting the growth, as evident from all the different initiatives, the government has launched through all different agencies. So yeah, So that's my take on this the scene at the moment.
Thank you, Jesse. And what about Dr. Ng?
Keep it coming. Keep it coming, Jesse. Keep it
My-
coming because the ecosystem is booming, is growing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Southeast Asia is the next big thing.
Yeah.
No one is unaware of it. Everyone is very much conscious that the very next big boom is going to happen in Southeast Asia. Not China, not Japan, not Australia. US and Europe are having their respective issues of various type. Nowadays I call myself half European, half Asian. Actually 70% Asian nowadays. But I look at how the culture is in Southeast Asia, how the passion, the openness, the spirit, the vision that Southeast Asian are having, and I am really hopeful and extremely passionate in looking forward another 10-15 years. Things are going to grow and grow very fast. Now, if we look at the economic stage, development stage in Southeast Asia, no doubt that right after Singapore, it's us. Us means, 70% Malaysian of me that is talking here. We are coming next. And we are, for many different reasons, more attractive. What we as a player in the market hope to see very soon is a strengthening of the digital infrastructure that is still lacking a bit in Malaysia. The so-said seventh pillar of the smart cities must be there to allow a faster growth. Earlier, Mr. Norman was saying we want to see at least 5 unicorn by 2025, and he hopes, and me too, and I'm sure Jason also, because he is one of the potential one eventually, unicorn from Proptech. It will happen providing the government can give us the proper infrastructure. Yes, Jesse, you're right, we are spoiled. We are spoiled, but in a positive way, because no doubt the government is helping the tech startup ecosystem, but still we need to run our side, because it's not oh, I give it to you for free. No, I give you if I think you are really worth it, which is very good. Okay, we don't want to get anything for granted, and we are here willing to fight to obtain what the government is handing out towards us. I'm very excited, honestly, looking at the future, because I look at those acceleration program, the sandbox, all the different type, my startup ecosystem. We have been talking with Magic about looking into together. Actually, the idea came from Magic of looking together in a possible white paper on the Proptech ecosystem in Malaysia. Remember, region, we were talking about it in July, May, June, July, saying, yeah, it's fantastic. We are willing to put in our efforts, providing Magic can take the lead, kind of, or MDEC or whoever, I mean, in the government agency, to make this happening. Why? Because we need help, but we fully understand the government needs to have precise data on how they can help more. These MOUs that we are signing, the meaningful of it is really the communication channel between us and you, telling us our members' pain points, and getting from you the solution for those pain points. This is how I see the thing moving forward. And I can tell you, very exciting time are ahead of us. We will touch this during these 2 days, AI, machine learning, big data, metaverse. The next panel that we start in another half an hour will be all about metaverse, the virtual space of the future, where we will all meet from any part of the world in a virtual space, but with the possibility of shaking hand and talking to each other. That is the future. Nothing can stop it. So I'm very excited to see it realized. And I would like to see a Malaysian flag waving on top of the metaverse in future. With full respect.
As well, I think MPA and Magic are also working closely to attract foreign startups to come into Malaysia.
We will be able to bring them. we will be able to introduce them. Actually, I have found a very interesting way of putting the three of you in a little bit of trouble, promising that I will do my best in organizing a round table with the Nigeria Proptech, which is a booming market. Okay, is always a matter how I look at it. At least I help you to help me. Please help me to help you, kind of, meaning association, government agencies are cooperating between countries. At the end, who is the beneficiary? Beside the ecosystem, beside the PropTech, are the two governments, which are becoming closer and exchanging resources. Exchanging, I mean, is maybe a bit too visionary, but is definitely something that will contribute enormously to the growth of people, of the country, of the rakyat here in Malaysia. I look at it in this way, and I'm very excited.
Thank you, Dr. Daniel, for weighing in, and the passion, as you can see, is growing and growing. It's firing up, and this is the
Fire.
first panel. It's the first panel, guys. Get ready for it. Sorry, Jesse, you wanted to finish your thought? You wanted to say something?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that those who are watching this program this morning, if you are a foreign-based startup, right, do talk to any of us from the government agency as well as the Proptech Association.
Absolutely.
We'll be most happy to to welcome you into Malaysia.
Great, great. Now let's hear from Dr. Ng.
Yes, for my view is for this pandemic, right? It really does. Yes, it brings a lot of problem to us, but at the same time, it open up a lot of opportunities. Right? So I think there's a shift of mindset. Previously, if you look into a property or this particular sector, it's a rather conservative, conservative approach. People think of property or PropTech is just like brick and mortar. So that with this pandemic or with this problem that we're facing right now, right, it is not just something good to have, it is a must-have, your digitalization. So for Cradle's point of view, in the eyes of, because we are always in the startup space, right? We might not look into a digitalization approach as a whole, or encouraging existing industry to look into digitalization. What we are looking at, or rather get excited about, is constantly we will be having startups coming to us offering new solutions. Right? There is the problem, they see opportunity, they come, they want to change the world. This is our solution, please assist us. So we are very, very excited in that point that more and more ideas and solution, of course, on a digital space, technology base, are coming up to us due to this COVID situation. So for us, right, yes, it is a big problem out there, but then at the same time, for those people who are able to turn this this problem into opportunity, the opportunity is limitless.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, within Cradle itself, we have a few. We do have a few investing company. Those that are able to pivot and those that are able to sustain the effect of the COVID. Right. It's really it's not that they are doing business as usual. They pivot. Right. That is the most important thing. They pivot and then they grow. They say what is the opportunity there, and then they pivot and they grow. So I think that's the beautiful part about a startup, whereby we are really, really excited to support them further. Of course, I do agree with Daniel saying that the infrastructure and everything, the ecosystem need to be there, which I think MDAC, Magic, Cradle is trying very, very hard to bridge any gap within the ecosystem, right? So everyone is doing their part. So overall, for me, yes, the pandemic, it is something which is troublesome. I don't like wearing my mask or whatever. I don't like the social or physical distancing, but then it's something that we need to endure. And at the same time, if you can find opportunity, there is business for you. There is revenue to be generated if you are able to turn that into a viable business model. Yeah. So that's all from me.
Thank you, Dr. Ng.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing from the panel, I think in summary, is that things have changed, and in regards to companies and organizations or a small business or whatever it is, if before it was nice to have or something investment into the future, now it has become a necessity and something we need to adopt as fast as we can, and not delay, not wait for handouts, not wait for new whatever government move, but really they take ownership of their own business and their own future, so to speak. I can speak on behalf of the property industry, where COVID has impacted really the developers, real estate agents, bankers, lawyers, buyers in many different ways. Of course, mainly is when you're unable to meet in person, right? Unable to even be at the sales gallery, unable to seriously, when the SOPs and different things were implemented right away, they were at a loss. What we saw, something that's unprecedented. So suddenly people are looking, what do we do next? Where do we go? How do we move forward? And that's where we saw many different innovation and many different exciting solutions came to the forefront. And if before, like for myself, I would say, if before some developers were like a bit hesitant, and they don't really, now they come to us and say, hey, what can we do? What can we do now? It has been a reversal of that, and I think really it's been so exciting. So much has happened in the past few months. But right now I want to speak into the people who are listening who are from startups and scale-ups here. In regards to your organization, okay, firstly, can you share what future plans in your respective agency have for 2022 and beyond? What can startups, scale-ups, and SMEs look out for or be excited about? Like, I think some of them were already mentioned here and there. And if you can touch a bit on the property sector, that'd be great. But also the kind of things that you think that again, people are looking out and they are aspirational and saying, I want to help solve things, I want to change the world, I want to solve the problems that's out there right now. What do you see? Because all of you, I believe, have seen many different companies, many different startups, many different ideas. What stands out to you? And then moving forward, the old ways have passed. Now it's time for a new wave of innovation, digitalization, and digital transformation. So firstly, again, what are your respective agencies planning for in 2022 and beyond, as well as what should then the startups and startups kind of like work towards or be relevant? It's not just about building a company, but it's about impacting positively our country and our markets as well. Right? So maybe I'll start off with Rajan once again.
Right. I'll speak for Ranti, known as the Malaysian Research Accelerator for Technology and Innovation. So this new entity, right, like I mentioned earlier, it's made up of Magic and TPM, and of course Platform Ventures. Yeah. And moving forward, the mandate is to increase the commercialization of technology in Malaysia. So what we have for startups, right, is essentially to identify those IPs from research universities and institutes, especially for tech startups, right, who want to adopt these IPs, okay, which are really marketable, and so we want to introduce them to these new IPs, especially startups which have the capacity to take on IPs, right, the growth stage matured startups. So we are looking into bridging that gap, because we see in the industry itself a lot of good university and research institutes. They come up with fantastic research and IPs. However, the visibility from industry, which is startups, corporates, SMEs, is very low. Yeah, and so we are trying to bridge that gap by bringing them, the startups and all that, to the universities, to the research institutes, to identify which are the IPs which they would possibly want. But of course, on our part also, we'll do the duty to identify what are those gems in those RU and RIs, right, that come out from, from the years of research and investments, especially, through government grants, right? A lot of them, spend a lot of time, doing it. So, so what do you call it? They may have, the limited reach, right? These RUNIs may have the limited reach to industry. That's where we play a role, because we have already built that ecosystem of startups and corporates and even civil society, over the many years, right? And the expertise that we have adopted, through the amalgamation of these three agencies, Platform Ventures, had fantastic, IP valuation skills, and I would say the know-how. Magic has got that, startup ecosystem, I would say relationship, and capacity building programs. Same thing, TPM has got incubators, they've got labs, they've got maker space, etc., and all that. So we can provide this this capacity building, the consulting, the I would say the infrastructure for this industry, the private sector, to reach to the RU and RIs to identify those IPs and adopt it and commercialize it. You see, so whether it's through a partnership or whether it's through licensing, that is depend on their appetite. So we are going to reach out to these players in the private sector and what do you call that, expose them to those fantastic research, especially coming from Malaysia. But of course, we'll be looking at regional and global also, right? But we'll start off with Malaysia, moving on next year. So those startups, and those corporates who are listening in, if you're looking at commercializing some IPs or adopting it and then making it grow and monetizing from it, please come to us. We do have that network with the research universities and institutes already. We just want to bridge the gap, expose you to it, and see whether you would want to take those IPs on board and take it and monetize from it. So we will provide that facilitation.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rajan. I also just realized as you were speaking, I mentioned just now about Telecom Ventures and how MHub has been a benefit. Actually, Magic, now Meranti, we were also part of the alumni, and I've spoken to you separately. And seriously, it has the ecosystem and the support and the acceleration and the training of that does really make a big difference. Just wanting you guys to know you're doing a great job, and it really makes a big difference to people who really are have ideas, but they may not have the other things it takes to scale. So thank you once again, Magic and Meranti. And excited to hear what's coming up next. Right? I think there'll be a lot of new announcements coming up in next few weeks. All right, let's hear from MDEC, from Jesse.
Yeah, so I think for next year, a big part of our focus will be supporting our companies, right, to grow further, right, regionally as well as locally. So similar programs to what Magic has, a corporate innovation exchange, where we look for opportunities for startups and scale-ups to work with large corporates, and also expanding our regional markets, right, around Southeast Asia, into Australia, and so on and so forth, developing opportunities for our companies to make a name for themselves in those countries. And we believe that because Malaysian technology has always been, modest about promoting themselves, so certainly one of the key things that we want to drive further is to get these companies to grow. And then this, of course, in support of creating that unicorn that the country has been aspiring to, right? On top of that, also we want to enrich the local ecosystem with the addition of new startups from other countries, because we believe that the startup ecosystem really is a global in nature, right? So the more foreign startups come into this country, they will be able to enrich the ecosystem here with their experience, with their talent, and with their global connections as well. And last but not least, we will continue to push for later stage funding. That's something that's been lacking in Malaysia, Series A and beyond, especially, right? We want to bring in more investors into that space, and so this will then support the growth of the companies moving forward.
Thank you so much, Jesse. And can we hear from Dr. Ng?
Yeah. For Cradle, there will be two main focus from 2022 onwards. Yeah. On the broad stroke, will be on strengthening the ecosystem for startup. Of course, we will not be doing it alone. This is where we will link up with MDEC, Magic, Meranti, or whatever out there to really streamline it for our startup. Right? There are a lot of initiatives out there. For new startup was still new to the ecosystem. We wish to make a conducive ecosystem for them by linking up with other agencies. So that will be the first so-called higher level intention from 2022 onwards, right? Because recently mostly launched, but I don't think it's made public yet in terms of the document. The startup roadmap, which is done by Magic and PwC. So the roadmap is there. It was been launched by the minister, but then I don't think it's yet been made public yet. So wait for it. Once it's public, then we will share. So that roadmap will have 16 grand intervention, I would say, to strengthen the startup ecosystem. And of course, each intervention will then have their own agency who's going to carry it as a lead agency for that particular intervention. Cradle's role will then to coordinate and facilitate and make sure the implementation is as seamless as possible across all interventions. So that will be at a high level. At Cradle focus right now, 2022 onwards, we will focus on the early stage development, right? Early stage development, so-called, we will be the factory of startup to churn out as many startup, resilient startup as possible. And then we would then funnel them to whatever specific program out there. For example, for scale up and early or later stage funding, A onwards or wherever, we will channel it to MDEC, we will channel it to MBB, whatever it is. For startup who are resilient enough, business model works, business market fit is there, they are able to bring in or take on more technology, then we will then channel them to Baranti for technology adoption, for IP adoption. Because early stage startup, they are not able to adopt technology because IP development or product development from those IP requires a lot of resources, right? So what we focus to do is to streamline it and then have a clear demarcation of what we do, which is to really strengthen our early stage startup to a stage where they are resilient enough to venture to the real world. Then off you go to Meranti for their initiative, off you go to MDEC for more funding, off you go to MDBs, and there are a lot of agencies out there. So what we're going to do now is just focus on that, right? So first step is to strengthen the ecosystem by working with any ecosystem player out there, make it easier for ecosystem player to navigate the ecosystem, not get lost in it. And then for us internally for Cradle, we will focus on the early stage as the startup factory that is going to, we call it the launch pad. We're going to launch a lot more, create a lot more startup to be funneled to later stage initiatives.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ng. I think really, if we were to look into our country and even Asia Pacific, there's no lack of talent and there's no lack of innovative ideas and many different things that is very exciting. But like you already put, and all of you have mentioned, ecosystem support is so important to provide the right environment for it to grow and thrive, and again towards those unicorn goals that we have. And I'm glad at least in the recent budget announcement there's a lot good allocation towards technology. So I think we are looking forward to hear more announcements, and what you mentioned, Dr. Ng, also more spelled out, in very practical ways. Dr. Daniel, you want to weigh in on this? Like, what do you see?
I am actually looking forward. As you are saying, I've been reading the budget 2022 with two eyes. One is the old property man that is still in me. I am a property guy, a guy that has been eating bricks for 30 years plus before stepping into the property technology. And from that side, I was not that happy. But looking at the budget 2022 from a technology and digital transformation point of view, I'm pretty much excited to see what is going to happen. And I'm very glad of one thing, actually, because we are here talking about creating an ecosystem, analyzing an ecosystem, be audible, be visible, and communicate to each other. So I'm extremely happy of the decision that the Malaysian Proptech Association has been taking, point one, of organizing these apps 2021, which is here precisely to do this, connect parties, all right? We want to connect to each other, not only in Malaysia, but in the region and beyond. Point two, the decision that was taken and that we all have been looking at as a very crazy idea, which instead is coming in as very interesting platform for the future, to add in a virtual expo to our apps 2021. This virtual expo, the intention of this virtual expo is to slowly is going to be a growing expo, open for 12 months, available for Proptech associates from the region to come in show off their product, show off their solution. Agencies from Malaysia are warmly invited to jump on board to provide a additional visibility channel. Of course, this platform is very focused in terms of startup on construction and property and RE FinTech, which is already quite a big basket if we look at it. Looking at the future, the speed of growth of this startup in the Proptech ecosystem is impressive. And why is happening? Because it's quite logical. I mean, we had 5, 6, 7 years ago the firing up of a fintech, which has been a fireworks. Why? Dealing with money. Dealing with money needs a policymaker to come in, regulate, so the whole thing has been accelerated by the need of a legislative lawmakers intervention. Proptech is a bit less touched by this, even though we need some sort of regulatory body to come in and set boundaries, set refreshing, let me say, refreshing the existing boundaries, widening up in some cases or narrowing down in other cases, but we need to be regulated in a bit better way somehow. But at the end of the day, we are the vehicle for fintech to grow further. Why? Because we are dealing with the biggest asset class in the world. There are 20 trillion US dollar, 20 trillion of US dollar invested in commercial building around the world. We add in the residential, we go easily far above the 100 trillion US dollar. And what we know can be shared with others, what others are knowing can be shared with us. Being attractive, being the second most developed country in Southeast Asia will help Malaysia and the startup and more specifically the Proptech startup and Contech startup ecosystem to grow faster with your help. On this platform we can communicate, we can show off, we can create more awareness, which is what at the end we need to make sure is happening. Because still too many people around. Now you talk about Proptechs, they look at you and say, happening? What is that? What is that? I don't understand. Why Proptech? Why not property? So we are explaining. I've been participating in plenty of congress locally and overseas to expand more, to create more awareness about this. And this is what we need to keep on doing. We cannot stop. So looking in future, definitely we are here to connect. Definitely we are here to grow together in a very sustainable way. And I'm pretty sure, I would like to ask one question to Dr. Ng, if you don't mind, Jason, because he was mentioning we are here to become a booster of startup. We want to be a startup factory, which is very exciting, one side, but also very threatening, the other side. Because the more startup you produce, the higher is the risk of a killing competition, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
All right? I give you an example. In Europe, municipalities, for instance, are making sure that in one big road, there are X maximum number of restaurants, X maximum number of clothes shops, X maximum number of shoe shops. Why? Because the government wants everyone to do well and produce profit and pay taxes.
Yeah.
Is there any guideline which are you looking at in terms of startup production? You are a production line. I love the idea, but are you looking into a kind of framework, kind of boundaries, kind of limiting some numbers to make sure that the environment, the ecosystem remains very conducive?
Yeah. Can I interject first? We have 4 more minutes, all right? So as Dr. Ng answers, I also ask for the rest, just answer the same question as Dr. Ng answers Dr. Daniel's question. But also, I think what Dr. Daniel say is true, what even Norman Matthew mentioned earlier about properties being the largest asset size, right? But think of it objectively, I think a lot of technology is very much following what the other bigger countries and more technologically advanced countries are doing. But in this region, in Asia Pacific, Proptech is coming up, and to be fair, if you search for Proptech, even the Microsoft Word is underlined in red because they don't recognize it yet. Because those other countries are not as advanced because they are not as developing as Malaysia or the countries in the Asia Pacific. So the opportunity here is great. We can actually champion and do something which is going to impact the world, I feel. So the last 4 minutes, just closing thoughts. Dr. Ng, Rajan, and Jesse, just maybe in 1 minute, what are your closing thoughts, and maybe then we can conclude the session for today. Thank you, Dr. Ng.
Just to quickly answer the question, I do not have, or Cradle do not have a formula on how does it, what is the balance and what is the best numbers, right? But the nation aspiration is by 5,000 startups by 2025. So the thing for us is because in the business of startup, it is very, very risky, right? And the survival rate for any startup is really, really low, right? So if the funnel that we have is less, then when the start of the funnel is less, then when it's funneled down, to achieve unicorn status in a short period of time, it's quite hard. So what we plan or what we envisage that we can do is we do and broaden up the funnel, so at least we have more as they go down the funnel. Because as you and me know, the survival rate for startup is really, really low. And we want that to happen, right? We want them, how do they learn the best? Is by failing, right? We don't want to like supporting a startup which is like not really good, but then because we don't want them to fail, we keep on supporting although they don't deserve it. So I think what is important here is to let them grow. If they want to fail fast and learn and come back again and then have another idea again, and then, you know, that's how it works, right? Survival for the fittest. So
Right.
to cut it short, I do not have a formula, but then our approach is fail fast, fail cheap, and then come back and then redo, pivot, redo.
Thank you, Dr. Ng. Jesse?
Yeah, I think my closing thoughts will be that I feel that PropTech is really at an inflection point, right? And I believe that so many interconnects that PropTech will have with other technologies, smart cities, cybersecurity, even agri-tech, for example, right? So I think, I think this conference is very timely, and once again, I wish the event every success, and look forward to collaboration.
Thank you so much, Jesse. And Rajan?
Right. Well, finally, I think that PropTech Association has done a lot of good work in the last many years, and you guys have stamped your mark, okay, in the industry. So with the kind of support that the government agencies are providing, I think you guys will definitely grow. But it's very, very important that the PropTech Association reaches out to the traditional brick and mortar industry players, the builders, the developers, together to adopt your technology, fantastic technology, right? And if you guys want to, further develop, on that, welcome to Ranti. Yeah, we can guide you through every stage of IP adoption and all. Wishing you all the best in this conference. Yeah, I hope a lot of good outcomes will come from it, especially from the international participants. Please, come to Malaysia, and we'll be here to support you. So thank you very much, and all the best.
Thank you so much, Rajan. Daniel, 30 seconds, I think. Your panel is starting now.
1 second, because I have another panel after
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
Come and follow me in the metaverse, the next panel discussion. And to Jesse, Dr. Ng and Rajan, thank you very much for your time. We really look forward to a sparkling and very happening 2022 all together to make things happening faster and in a more sustainable and long-term way. Thank you very much. I really need Jason to
Just go ahead.
drop
Just go
off
ahead.
and jump
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Come and see me at 11:30.
All right.
Metaverse is the next panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone. And I think with that, this is the keynote panel. With that, this is officially launched. We launched Apps 2021. I just want to also acknowledge, I know today's sharing is focused a lot. We talk a lot on Malaysia and the Asia Pacific region, but I just want to acknowledge people also joining us from Australia, Singapore, Japan, Hong Kong, UAE, Turkey, Italy, US, the Netherlands, Nigeria, Germany, UK, and South Africa. we have not forgotten you. We hope that whatever we shared here today is relevant to you and also we are able to scale and learn from each other. Who knows, Apps 2021 2021, we will go. We will have other different countries hosting. But really, stay tuned and do jump in. Check out all the other panels that's happening today and tomorrow, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you once again so much, Dr. Ng, Rajan, and Jesse. It's been such a privilege and such a joy talking to all of you. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Done.
Bye.
Bye.